Welcome to SB408D Entrepreneurship. My name is Felicia Frida Iden Aqua. We're going to look at the business plan, Unit 3. Specifically, we're going to look at Unit 4, writing the business plan. By the end of this session, you should be able to outline the introductory page of your business plan. You should be able to actually explain the executive summary, and which basically gives an overview of your business and describe your industry very well in your industry analysis of your business. To begin off, your introductory page, like we made mention in the earlier session, is what is actually introducing your business to the one who has your business plan in there. And so it should have the name and address of your venture. Don't put any address which is archaic or you're no longer using it in there. Everything in there should be up to date. And so if you are working and your address now is Cape Coast, UCC building X, let it be there. Don't go and use building Y when you're no longer in that building. They don't communicate you being serious or ready for business. And so the name of the business should be well written out. The address should be there. Fortunately, in Ghana now, we have the GPS address system and all those ones. So you can put your CC, TM, AC, and all those ones. Put it in there. Let them know so that if someone wants to visit your business, they will be able to easily find you. The name of the entrepreneur and the telephone number. If it's a partnership, you can have the key partners, their contact in there. If it is a company, the key persons in there. If you are 100 or 50, not all of you have to be on it at your introductory page. Just some 3 or 4 or 5 key people in the business should be there, and the phone number should be reachable. You don't want to go and put any wrong phone number there as well. It doesn't communicate you are serious already for business. And then there should be a paragraph that describes your business just a little on the nature of your business. What are you into? Maybe I'm into mango processing or fruit processing. You should have something little in there. The amount of finance needed, you can decide to chip that in as well. And a statement of confidentiality of the report. This is very key in this era, especially in safeguarding businesses. You don't want to send a business plan to X and before you realize Y, Z, and co have idea about it, or they. So when it comes to the executive summary, just like you write your abstract for your dissertations, they are the last you actually write, but they are the first you see in your document. And so you want to write this when you finish writing your business plan and you summarize the whole thing. And so for a summary, you don't expect so much pages or so much length in there. And so usually 2 to 3 page works. You can have an executive summary of 1 page. It is accepted. It depends on the stage of your business and what you're actually going into that is going to merit the numbers. But what matters is the content and not the number of pages you are writing. And so there are some key things that have to show up. One key thing is the nature of your venture. What are you into? You should describe it so well that when anybody picks your business plan, including you, the entrepreneur, you know what you are about, your goal, your objective, what the business is into. It should be spelled out clearly in there. And obviously, you've been using your business plan to solicit for funds, and even you, the entrepreneur or entrepreneurs, is going to help you see the amount of money you need to run this business, as well as other resources you need. And so it is very key to have a good summary of the finances needed in there. How much would you need to start up your business? How long is it going to take you to even break even? All these things would have to be there. You need to also discuss the market potential of the business you are having in there. That is also going to be very useful, not only to you, the entrepreneur, but even to investors, because that gives investors that surety and that sound mind that there's potential for this good or this service as well. That means that it's going to be sustainable in the long term. If that potential is not there, even you, the entrepreneur, it doesn't give you much laurel or strength to really pursue that thing that much. And so it is very key to look out for the market potential of the product or service offering you want to take into the market. And of course, you need to support it with why you think it's going to succeed. Don't just go and give subjective take on why it will succeed. Let there be factual evidence to it, supporting statistics, supporting facts, supporting figures to why it will succeed and why that market, why that product or service has that potential and why it's going to succeed. Don't go and just be defensive or just objective, be just subjective. It is very, very key to be objective when you are supporting the business idea you'd have. Once you've been able to do your executive summary, the next thing that follows is your industry analysis. This is also another key part of your business plan. And like I made mention earlier, your industry is looking at what firms which are in doing virtually the same thing or related activities. And so if you are into sewing, you know that you're going to be in the clothing industry, or the bigger industry will be the fashion industry. If you are into food, fruit making, juice making, and all those things, you're all into the word food processing industry. And so there are things that are within that industry that is going to also what affect your business and influence it. And that is why we looked at the environmental factors in the earlier unit as well. And so there are 10 critical issues you would have to address when you are doing your industry analysis. You want to first look out for the total sales over the past 5 years. If you're going to be very sustainable in your business, you need to do the real feasibility. Go down into the industry, do your analysis well, do your research well. Find out, has sales been dropping in this industry? Has sales been stable? How has sales been over the last 5 years? It's going to give you some sort of indication as to where the problems is, whether that industry is even viable or not. Because we made mention in our earlier sessions that the window of opportunity is looking at what the time frame in which you can go into that specific business, and then you make a lot of profits from it. What is the gain of going into a dying industry if you're not going to survive it or something? And so it is very critical to look out for the total sales over the last 5 years in the industry you find yourself. You need to also look out for the anticipated growth in the industry. Are there sales potential for the industry? What are the facts? What are the statistics? What are the records? What is research saying about growth in there? If that industry is dying, you may have to advise yourself or find ways to not die with it, or to resustain the industry. You need to look out for these things. How many new firms have entered into the industry in the last 5 years? We made mention of the threat of new entrants when we're doing the competitive analysis, and we said these are very key in there. If you're an industry where a lot of people easily come in, that means the barriers to entry is less. It could be that the capital needed is less, that's why people are just coming in. It could be that it's something easy which requires less skills and effort. It could be a lot of factors. And so once you know what is at stake, then you see what the strategies to put in place to reduce their impact on you, because all of these is going to end up becoming your competitors. And so you need to know them very well to know how to handle them. And you need to know what new products have been introduced recently into the industry. That is also going to let you know whether what you have in mind is good or is not viable. So if there are new products, how are they faring? If they are doing very well, you need to find out what is causing their success. Is it their marketing? Is it their promotion? Is it even the branding? Is it advertising? What is causing that product to do well? If it's not doing well, so you need to also take note of it to also help you fine tune yours in there. So in the new product coming in the market, you need to be on the look for it. You need to know who your nearest competitors are. Competitors are either direct or indirect. So if you go to the telcos, you know that yes, MTN and Vodafone are direct competitors. And so you realize whatever MTN does, Vodafone is trying to also do something just to be in competition and all those ones. You may have indirect competitors. These are substitutes. If we can't use any network in Ghana, we may have to resort to writing letters. This is indirect competitors, because you want to communicate, and if there's no telcos, the best we can go back is our post office and write letters to each other as well. So you need to look out for your nearest competitors, both direct and indirect. The direct are those who are doing the same thing as you are doing, producing the same services or products which you are doing. The indirect are people who are producing things which is not directly what you are doing, but then if your thing is not there, they can be used as substitutes to solve that need or problem. You also need to look out for how your business is going to operate to be better than your competitors. It is very, very important. So the things you are doing right, you need to learn from it and then use it to up your game. The things you are doing wrong, you need to find solutions to them. And you need to find out whether your competitors, is their sales what growing, is it declining, or is it steady? If it is growing, what is causing their sales figures to grow? If it is declining, what is causing it? If it's steady, what is making them stable all through the years? When you do this, they help you put strategies in place to what? Always come on top in the competition, because competition you cannot avoid, but then you can put strategies in place that is going to keep you sound even in the competition. And you need to look out for the strengths and weaknesses of the competitors. What are the things that they are very good at? What are the things they are not good at? Their strengths are things sometimes you have to what, put in some sort of barriers or strategies in place to make sure that they don't end up what affecting you so much. But their weaknesses, you have to always make sure that you are also putting in place strategies, opportunities to what, take advantage of those weaknesses of theirs. And of course, you have to also do what we call the profiling of your customers. You need to know the type of customers you are, what's their lifestyle, what's their demographics, what is every issue about your customer should be of key concern to you. You should know them so well to know how to even channel what your product or your offerings, channel them perfectly to them such that they'll be able to what, have value for it. And of course, you need to know how your what, customer profile differs from those of your competitors. If it's the same, then you need to know that you have more work to do to differentiate yourself from them. If it's a little different, you need to find out how different they are from you. Yes, there are a lot of food businesses in Ghana. You realize that Unilever is doing something else, Nestle is doing something else, Men's Cook is doing something else, Authentic Wache on campus is doing something else. And so you need to know the profiles of what your customers in there. These are 10 critical industry analysis issues you'd have to look out for in your industry analysis. Now, once you're done, you need to describe your venture. So, what product or service do you want to come out with? What good or service would you want to do? You need to talk about it. You need to look at patent, copyright, trademarks. How do you legally protect the things you are what, putting out there? You know, if it's a pure invention, you may have to what, go and patent it, like Suffolk and tankers, cars and things. Those are wild inventions. Most of them have been patented for like 10 years, 20 years. You can't do, nobody can come and do the same thing. So you need to protect it, especially when you are having copyright, trademarks, and all those things. They help those in literature and all those issues. You need to protect what you are putting out there. Your ideas, you need to protect it. So once you're done with that, you need to talk about where your business is going to be located, whether it is virtual, whether it is brick and mortar, wherever it is located. You need to spell it out in your business plan. You need to also talk about the building you are going to be, especially if you are doing a brick and mortar business. You need to let us know, is it old, is it new, was it not renovated? If renovated, what was the cost in there? All these are very important. You may overlook it or see it as not so trivial, but then they matter a lot, because if it's an old building, it means that you'd have to put in place maintenance costs and all those maintenance issues when it comes to what, redoing your building or making sure your building is still what, safe for use in there. If the building is new, you know that, well, maintenance costs and all those things is reduced in there. You may go and buy a place, you have to renovate before you use the place. All these things would have to be talked about in your description of the venture. And you need to go on further to look at whether the building is what, owned or leased. and you state the terms of the lease, whether it's a 10-year lease, 100-year lease. You need to let them know whether you've bought it and it is now owned by the business. It has to be stated in there, and you're going to have the supporting documents to it in your appendix. Yes, and then when you are done, you need to describe why that building is actually right for the business in which you are going into. Why that particular building and not any other building in that neighborhood? Why that particular infrastructure or thing you are going in for? Why that particular space and not any other in that building? You need to give us that justification for it as well. It could be that it is very critical. Maybe it is giving you some advantage over the rest, and there's more traffic there, or it is more conducive, more flexible, more open, and so you can have more to do with it than other buildings or other spaces. You need to spell it out in there. And what additional skills or personnel will be needed to operate the business. This is going to help you even in your recruitment and everything when it comes to your resource, especially the human resource. And human resources can make and unmake your business as well. There's a need for you to critically look out for this in your description of your venture. And the office equipment you are going to need, you need to spell those ones out as well. Would they be purchased or would they be leased? Are you going to buy them? Are you going to hire them? If it's going to be rental or something, you need to spell it out then. And then what your business background is as an entrepreneur. So maybe you have no business background, you need to state it in there. And if you have no business background and you state, it would also be prudent to have it in there that maybe you may want to augment it with some little training in business as well. That would make investors more sound to work with you. But if you have no business experience, you have no plans of getting a little knowledge in there, it may be a little scary for some investors because they don't know how you're going to really run this business and make it very viable. You need to look out for the management experiences you will need or you'd have if you already have that business background. Describe your personal data, especially when it comes to your special abilities, interests. So that is for the entrepreneur. If you are more than one, you need to spill all of them. If it's a key people in the industry, in your business you're talking about, like your company or partnership, the key partners or the key shareholders and things, you can also spill it out over there. And what are your reasons for going into the business? You don't start any business for starting sake. You started for a reason. There's a purpose and a motivation for going into that business, and so you need to spell that out over there. And then you need to just talk about why you will be successful in the venture. Remember earlier we also spoke about that in your executive summary, why you think that business will succeed. So in describing the venture, you need to talk about all those key things that makes you sustainable and strategically successful potentially for your venture. It is very, very key in there. And then you need to look out for the developmental work. What developmental work has been completed to date, especially for businesses which are already into something. But if you are totally new, obviously you will not have much to write at that side. And so these are all key things we need to look out for. In summary, we have discussed that the details we've discussed some details of the components of the business plan, specifically our introductory page, our executive summary, our industry analysis, and the description of our venture or our business. Thank you.